Well, hello there, I'm Jason Zook. This is Caroline Zook, and you're listening to Wandering Aimfully, the show, a podcast where we explore different topics. It's also a YouTube show, so if you're watching on YouTube, don't be confused that you're missing out on it just being a podcast, because you're not. You're watching on YouTube. Congratulations on yourself. You're great.
Your podcast voice is really freaking me out. Okay, guys, in this episode, we are talking about a topic that we have many frequent in-person discussions about, which is self-worth and social media.
Ooh.
And how the two are related. And we talk about likes, and we talk about followers, and we talk about unhealthy relationships with social media, and we talk about trying to get people to like your kid on social media. We talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But we know that this is a topic that in this 21st century world, a lot of us deal with. So we hope that it gives you a lot to chew on mentally, and we hope you enjoy it.
But if social media doesn't exist and you're watching this in the 22nd century, then just skip and go to another episode. Hey there, we're Jason and Caroline Zook, a husband and wife team who believes life is just one big experiment.
This is the show where we share our journey as we figure out this ever-changing thing called life. We cover topics like running a business, traveling the world, and clawing our way out of debt, all with the hope of inspiring you to live, work, and create with more intention.
Life might bring its twists and turns, but when you know who you are and what you want, you're never really lost. Welcome to Wandering Aimfully, the show.
Say cool stuff.
Squeal, bing. I mean, well, not bing, because it's just getting started, but watch this. Turning the sound on today.
That just reminded me of snooze. Remember that song?
Yeah.
Doom,
Yeah.
doom, doom,
I already,
doom,
yeah.
doom,
It's. I'll put it in there for everybody, don't you
Yeah.
worry.
Before we get started, can I tell everybody about my hair decision?
Oh, sure, yes, yeah.
Guys, this is the reality of what this looks like most of the time. And I have to be honest with you, I've been lying to you.
Oh, wow.
Because every time we record one of these, I typically do my hair, and it gives the impression that that's what it looks like, and it doesn't.
Now, when you say do my hair, that's like
To shower
30 to 45 minutes?
Yeah. That
I
includes,
just am saying like,
Oh, okay. That includes showering, like it's dry, and then I curl it usually or do something to it. And this time, I was just like, I can't. I'm so exhausted. And Jace was like, why don't you just wear your hair?
just be you.
And it's
Just
and
let
like,
your hair be itself.
Also, one of my like anxiety tics recently is like I play with my hair a lot because I feel dizzy, so it's like a way of self-soothing. So my hair gets greasy like that. So I want you to know I did shower yesterday, but which
Yesterday.
is pretty good for me.
Yeah.
And but so my hair isn't.
So this is the state of affairs.
This is the state of affairs. I had to just.
Yeah. Well,
Put that out into
there's no
the universe.
headband today to like.
Well, that's
hide.
what you said. You go wear the headband. I was like, you know what? No.
Not even gonna have that
Not
be a
even
lie.
I'm not gonna. The lies have got to stop.
Speaking of, I think that's actually a really great transition into social media is a lie.
You better believe all my photos on social media have my hair done. That's not true.
No.
Instagram stories
Okay,
are
so
true.
where this conversation actually originated was an article came out on The Verge and probably other places, but I saw it on The Verge first because it's where I get the only news that I get out of anything, and I skip over any political news at all, so it's really just tech news that I'm looking for. And the title of the post was, Instagram will test hiding public like counts in Canada. That on a photo that you post or that you see in your feed, it won't say 60 people like this. It'll just say a heart and then a couple people named that like this.
It'll say people?
Yeah, so it says people's names. So it's like the liked by and then it has the name and more.
Oh, liked by,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't.
It doesn't have the
Okay.
actual number.
Okay.
And I think this is fantastic. As someone who has been on the train of taking a break from social media since 2014, before social media detoxes were in vogue. Shout out to En Vogue, loved En Vogue, they're great.
Never gonna get it, 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 never gonna get it.
But
What was this? That's the in
that's
Vogue
in
symbol?
vogue, yeah, when
Okay.
things are in vogue. Oh, wow, what's up? Something's in vogue? Yes, it is. Anywho,
You have to put up that emoji. That's this emoji, which
I'll
is now
put up whatever emoji I want.
which is now
Don't tell me
forever-
how to direct and produce
which is
and
now
edit these
forever the
episodes.
in Vogue emoji.
You're
Okay.
just the talent. You just get out of your trailer with your hair done and you show up and here's who you are.
Can't even do that anymore.
Anyway, I've been on the bandwagon of social media detoxes for a couple years now. We actually have the #1 post on Google when it relates to social media detox, which is not meant to be a shout out. It's just meant to be, this is how important it is for us. This is something that we really believe in.
Sure.
And I love this idea. I really fundamentally
Of the hiding the like count.
think that social media metrics are really affecting us in a negative way. And it causes a lot of dictation of behavior. It causes a lot of self-worth thoughts, which we want to talk about. And to be able to remove that number, I think is so important, because just getting to see that someone likes something of yours is totally fine. We don't need the number. The number, it influences decisions. It also makes you think like, oh, was this good? Was this bad? It could have been a timing thing. It could have been an algorithm thing. Like, it really has no actual weight on your self-worth. So
Okay.
I have a lot of thoughts.
I also have a lot of thoughts. Everything that you just said, I agree with. And I would like to explore those topics further, because I agree that, you know, the metrics and the things, like our human brains get so caught up on it, and we start to measure ourselves and our work and our content and our curated lives. Like, we associate these quantities to that. And
Yeah.
so it,
We also-
as you said, it reinforces negative behavior. No, you were talking. I don't care. What's your keyword?
Doesn't
Doesn't matter. Wasn't that good? But what I will say is, and this is what I was trying to communicate, which I'm going to try to do a better job. I'm not sure how it'll go. I want to dig into the psychology of this and the logistics of this for a second. Because when I when I'm going through my feed on Instagram and I want to like something, I don't look at the number of likes that a thing has before I decide to double tap it, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know that it'll change the behavior from the user's perspective of what they decide to like and what they don't. However, I think what you're talking about is you, as the owner of the account, not being able to see the amount of likes. However, then again, I'm like putting myself in the shoes of somebody experiencing this. I'm still seeing on my little heart notifications, you know what I mean? I'm still seeing like an instant gratification. And
totally, but it's not a measurement against whatever that thing is and how you feel about it. So let's just take a very concrete example. So for example, for my account, I've been posting less on Instagram as we've gone by in years. I'll post nicer photos that our friend Jen took of us. I'll post fun moments that we've done that involve donuts, which always get a lot of love. And those will average somewhere between 100 and 200 likes, somewhere like that. And that makes me feel good, because I feel like, oh wow, like a lot of people like this. That's a lot to me. I remember when it was only 20 people. But then I posted a photo of me in a tree and it got 70 likes. And it just makes me think like, oh, was that photo not well composed enough? Was it not interesting enough? Like, I actually thought it was kind of a fun thing. And those are the thoughts that I have, but they don't influence my decisions. Like, I didn't not post that photo, or I didn't take it down, or it's not gonna stop me from posting a similar photo in the future, because I don't personally care about the number of likes. But the real world example that I'm giving here is, I think a lot of people would see the lower liked photo and go, oh crap, I'm gonna either delete that or I'm not gonna post something like that.
from the user's perspective.
From the user's perspective. Because you pay attention to that. And I think so many people who are watching this will agree with that the amount of likes dictates the content that they post.
I totally agree with you. I'm just saying what's so funny is what I'm questioning is I don't know if this mechanism is going to fix that. Because you're going to be able, I still guarantee you there's some way that you can go into your analytics
for sure.
and
Yeah.
see.
So the way that this does work, the way that they changed this just in Canada, is that you click into the insights of a post and you can see the number of likes.
And I think that the human curiosity is going to lead somebody to look at that.
Totally, but yeah, and I think the whole point of bringing this up and talking about this is the first step where a platform has taken the initiative to go, something could be affecting people here and having some type of mental toll that we know that we started with, but we probably know that's causing issues. And it's because research and studies are coming out that you get the same dopamine rush from checking your likes and getting people to like your things on social media as you do when you do cocaine. It's proven.
I totally agree with you. I guess what my position is sort of like, I don't know if you can put the genie back into the bottle.
I don't know that you can put the genie back into the bottle either.
Oh, great one who summons me, I stand by my oath, loyalty to wishes 3.
Hashtag spawn, hashtag ad. Guys, go out and see Aladdin in theaters today. I'm just kidding. We have
Because now everybody who Instagram has matured to the point now where everybody knows that feeling of posting something that gets a dramatically lower like count relative to your average likes, and posting something that goes gangbusters and you didn't expect it to. And everybody knows the good feeling that represents when something does well, and the less than feeling that it represents when something doesn't get as many likes. And I just think that we know those feelings now, so you can't just like take it away and think that people are not gonna, that are just, people now are gonna go back to posting like photos of their food with a weird vignette.
Well, and I don't think it's necessarily that. And I do think that there is something to be said here for if you're in the beginning of your journey on social media and you're trying to just kind of like feel your way through posting content and seeing what resonates with people, the like count can be an indicator of what people actually do care about.
Right.
So that can matter. However, the algorithm behind the scenes is already taking into account all this on your behalf without you even knowing. So I think the determining factor of what would show up in people's feeds is going to be done no matter what you see of the likes or not. And I think the bigger point here that I really see this as a positive move, even though I think you're right, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Y'all see my palace?
Aladdin in theaters now, is that these platforms need to take ownership of, hey, we're playing some pretty risky psychological games here that are leading to people committing suicide. I mean, like really drastic stuff because of how much their self-worth is tied to these personalities, their identities
and
online.
And these quantifications. I didn't want to distract there on the the logistics of it. I just wanted everyone to see that I don't know if it's going to solve the problem.
And
but
I think it's the first step in that direction that we've seen.
Yes. What I was going to say though is I remember one specific example that brings this really hits home for me is I remember there was a news story that kind of got picked up a while ago because a mommy blogger had posted, let's say, I think the story was she had 3 kids or something like that. Let's say, and she posted a photo of her youngest child and was like, hey guys, it's Hayden's birthday today, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't normally get the amount of likes as my other kids, and I normally, whenever I post his photo, and he's just such a sweet boy, and can you guys give him some likes for his birthday, because when he grows up, I don't want him to look back at these photos and think what's wrong with me. And I'm
gosh.
I'm putting myself in the shoes of that mom, and I'm the answer to your problem is not to coax people into giving validation to your son. It's to maybe take a step back and go, oh my God, maybe highlighting my kids on social media and truthfully without their consent in order to make them vulnerable to validation and to other people's opinions, and they are going to measure their worth based on likes, because whether you realize it or not, you are measuring their worth based on likes. And it was just oh my God. And it made me think twice about, I don't know, I think, I don't want to get off subject in terms of whether to share your kids.
Well, we stay very on topic on this podcast, so
well,
do not.
It made me think twice about wanting to, whenever we do decide to have kids, have a very conscious conversation about how much do we share,
how we can get them more likes,
how we can make them famous.
Oh, also, I did want to mention this. That is a good point.
We're being sarcastic.
I don't want to skirt over that. When I searched Instagram likes Canada to find this article, the second result is by Instagram followers and likes from 190, starting at 199.
No. I say we do it.
This is... So this story of the mom and the kids is such an incredible example of the way that these platforms, the way that social media has warped how we present ourselves in the world. And I know that we've both been through this. I know that people watching this have probably been through this. It does influence what you do online as your person that you're sharing. And that's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah.
Because then you start to have these feelings, and we've all read these stories where it's these people who you look at who maybe are famous or whatever, and they have this perfectly curated life, and then you find out that they're miserable, they're on drugs, they're whatever, and I don't know, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to just...
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
lump everybody in that, but I'm just saying, like, it does get to that bad.
Yeah.
And you see this curated perfect life where someone's self-worth is so tied into the person they present online, and that's not who they are in real life.
And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, like, we're not above the law when it comes to this. Like, I was just thinking to myself, I do miss the days when I could feel completely comfortable just posting a picture of our lives or posting a piece of art that, like, a new technique I was trying or something, and I wouldn't think twice about it. But again, now it's matured to this place where you want to protect yourself from that disappointment of sharing a bit of your life that other people don't validate as much as maybe other things. And so it hurts. You're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's not what people want to see. They want to see the photo shoot version of me or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I too curate my feed and wish that I could go back to a time where I felt confident enough.
Well, why don't you?
Why don't I? Let's get really honest. Why don't I? I think because I like the feeling of having a very curated feed that people like.
But
I think I don't, because over time the data has shown me what people respond to, and so I can't help but want to have that entire feed, all of the things that people respond to. You know what I mean?
do you think the end game there is because if the feed is not good enough, then
People will unfollow or leave.
people
or...
unfollow, they'll leave, they won't buy your art or whatever? Like, it leads to those things?
I do think so. That's some of it, of like, it's the marketing part of my brain that's like, oh, I'm doing myself a disservice by diluting this feed. And I'm not going to say, I will say I'm somewhere in the middle, right? Like, I don't obsess over follower counts. I don't obsess over likes.
Do you know how many
anymore.
followers you have?
I used to.
Specifically on Instagram, because it's really the only thing you use.
Not off the top of my head. It's something 0.5.
18,500.
It is?
Yeah, I looked it up
I was
before
going to say
this.
12.
Yeah. I looked it up before this. I didn't know either.
That surprises me. That's more than I thought, to be
Yeah.
honest. Okay. See, even that, I'm like, great, good for me. No, but like, for example, here's a good example of where I feel like I fall in the middle, where it was your birthday on Wednesday, and I knew I wanted to share publicly like a birthday message to you, and I know, A, it's a little bit like, I know people like behind the scenes of like our lifestyle, but B, I don't share a lot of you on my feed. It's a lot of my art and my personal...
Missed opportunity, if we're being honest, if
Yeah.
you want to curate that feed and get more followers.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put up a birthday message, and I was like, I know this isn't, it's not like, I know this isn't gonna do well. I know not, because people are used to seeing art from me or whatever. And, but on the other hand, and I was like, well, that's not gonna stop me from posting it. But on the other hand of that, I was like, I at least wanna get a photo that visually fits in with my color scheme on my feed. So that's stupid. But it's, as a person who cares about aesthetics, it's kind of satisfying, you know?
Yeah. I do think that there's something to be said for the difference of the curation of the feed for putting stuff up that you know that people will like, as opposed to the curation of the feed based on an aesthetic that you like.
Yeah.
And so my example for that is like the minimalists. You know, they have a really interesting visual curated feed, and it doesn't necessarily I mean, I guess in their case it does feel a little bit perfect because so many of the photos are perfect photos. But I don't know, there's just something different about it there than when I look at someone who, like, they're just a small business or whatever, and like every photo has to be the most perfect photo or these all different things, and there's no realness to it.
Right.
And you can look through some of that stuff and you can really see through the fact that they're not just trying to have an aesthetic, they're trying to show something that is not actually real, which is like this perfect thing. And I don't know, so we are already getting close to being done with this episode time-wise. I wanted to actually try and talk to people about removing their self-worth from social media, because I do feel like we've done that. At least I know I have done that.
Well, it's a journey, right? But we've consciously engaged
Yeah.
in that journey, for
So
sure.
let's do that for the last couple minutes on how we feel like we've done that.
Okay. For me, when it really started was when I did my daily art project in 2016, because I noticed myself, when you post a piece of something every day, you can't help but kind of quantify everything and pay attention to it. And I found myself, I would post something and then I would refresh and do that thing. And
You had your notifications on at the time too.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I remember we were in the Poway house. I remember. Ooh, drama, marriage drama.
Wow, you guys, I blocked it out.
I only remember because at a certain point in that project, you turned them off. And I remember it was like a big move for you because you'd always had them on.
Yeah, that must have been because I guess that was the first like 2 months, and then we moved to
We made it through, guys. Look
Oceanside.
at that.
So-
Babe, we did it.
So that's
Marriage
amazing
moment.
to marriage
Okay,
moment.
does want to have a marriage moment. Wow. I'll take a hint. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's
Maybe-
fine.
No, try
maybe
again.
in post.
Try again.
Maybe in post they'll make
Oh
it
my
look
God,
like
you're sweaty.
Maybe
Oh,
in
I'm
post.
sorry.
Maybe in post
Come
we'll
here.
look like we're in love. I don't know. We'll see what kind of editing I can do.
Come here.
No,
Try
it's
it.
good. That's all right. Yeah, it's good. Hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, good to be on this pod
Guys,
with you.
he's so-
Subscribe. Go see Aladdin in
so
theaters
sweaty.
now.
He's so sweaty. I'm so sorry.
I like that I'm
I
reusing
was
this Aladdin
thinking.
joke.
I know.
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
Sponsored by Aladdin.
We're close
I know.
on
I'm
time.
sorry.
Hurry
I'm
up.
sorry. Okay, so I didn't even remember I had notifications on. So that was probably step one. Step two was like, you know what? I'm only gonna check in like once or twice a day, and that was a big move for me. But I just knew that I was getting to a place where it was unhealthy, and also it was affecting my work because I had to do this daily project, and I was starting to overthink things. And so that also, though, doing a daily project helps you get over the idea of posting something imperfect.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, well, I'm gonna post something again tomorrow. It's
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of it for me.
I think
No
my
notifications.
my
no
biggest
checking.
thing was the social media
Obsessive.
detox first. So taking a break completely for 30 days. If you want to read about that, wanderingaimfully.com/detox. And that was huge for me to detach from it and go, hold on a second. Number one, nothing fell apart. Like our businesses kept going. People still contacted me through email and other means. Like I didn't completely fall off the earth, which is I think so much of what social media can make us feel like. Like if we're not here and connected, everyone's gonna forget we exist.
Yeah, I found myself doing the detox also like when I started struggling with all this anxiety in January. I took like 2 months off, I think, but it's the reverse. Like now, if I'm off for long enough, I get this like rush of like, oh, the world is moving on without me, and I
Yeah.
don't give an F. Like,
Wow, you censored yourself this
it
episode.
feels good.
We had a good running.
F-bomb?
Yeah.
It feels good to not be caught up in the noise of what everybody is just like. You sort of do feel like you're drifting backwards, and you're starting to see that it's just the whole world is just on a hamster wheel,
Yeah.
and they're just like, ah! Oh, I can step outside of this actually.
The other thing that I wanted to touch on that I did was I quit Facebook completely. And that to me was, I think, one of the biggest removals of my self-worth being tied to a social network, because so much of my identity came from Facebook. It was where, like in college, I started to like, it came about then. I met friends through there. I built a business through there with I Wear Your Shirt. I created so many connections and so many things, and it felt so intertwined to who I was. And I had to break that connection, because otherwise I just would stay in these traps of, I remember staring at the box to post a new photo or message or whatever, trying to think of something that would get likes. It wasn't to think of something to share of worth. It was just thinking, what could I post that would get a lot of likes?
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a really relatable feeling to a lot of people. And when you feel that, you have to ask yourself, is this really worth it? Like, do I actually need to be here? Because I could spend all these hours I'm scrolling through the feed, checking things, messaging people, liking stuff, like whatever, getting lost in the world of Facebook. And I could put that towards better things. I could put that towards my business, towards my relationships, towards other things. And that was really a big turning point for me too.
For sure. And to answer your question of like, well, how do you do that, or how are some things to do that? And for me, it's really about coming back to this shift in mindset from external validation to internal validation. And you've probably heard me talk about this in the past, but it's about from achievement, which is like an external thing, to alignment, which is an internal thing. And this can apply even to social media, because I know achievement sounds like, getting promotions and stuff, but achievement is like, oh, the next milestone in my followers, or the next like count, or whatever those things are. And when you stop doing things motivated by achievement or by external validation, other people saying, oh yeah, this is good, or oh yeah, I want to follow you, and you shift it back to yourself. And for me, alignment is just about looking inward and going, okay, what do I want to be sharing out of my soul? Like it's much more, it stems less from a place of lacking, like you're chasing something, and more from a place of overflowing, like you're sharing something, like it's coming from inside, and it doesn't matter what kind of validation it's met with, because the validation that you need is internal, and it's just, I want to share this, and I want to, like for me, my art, like, oh, I have this message that's been on my mind today, I want to help somebody out there, or I want to get this out of my head. And so I'm always constantly trying to check back in and going, okay, what does alignment look like for me now? And am I sharing that? And so, for example, when I wanted to come back to social media after my break, I was like, I'll know I'm ready to come back when my thought is not like, should I come back now? It's, oh, I have this thought that's been on my mind for the past couple of days, and I have this piece of art that I want to share. So again, for me, for whatever reason, the really impactful visual is you're not chasing something, you're sharing from a place of overflow.
Yeah. No, and I think the last thought that I had about this was just to ask yourself, like, are you showing up outside of social media? Are you showing up for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones, for your community, for your customers, whatever those things are? And if you are, measure your self-worth on those things, not on some digital pats on the back that you're getting through likes or retweets or any of this stuff, because that stuff it's so fleeting, and it's completely made up, as opposed to like the real world applications of, hey, you're a good person, I love you, I want to spend time with you. That feels better and should fuel you longer than, hey, here's my third child, please like them so that they feel liked. Ugh.
And it's fickle. Like if you see all this drama that's going on right now, like topical with like the YouTube world and things like that, you see how quickly those followers, like you feel like those people will love you forever. You feel like those people will support you forever, but they're just waiting for the next drama to come along so that they can hop off the bandwagon and hop onto something else. And so you can't put all of your self-worth into something that is so ephemeral.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be grounded and rooted in something a lot more real. So, but I hope we've given you some examples that show you that it's not like we think we're above this by any means. It's not like we have it all figured out. It's a very human thing. Like the people who create these networks know the human psychology behind it. But as long as you're constantly checking back in with yourself and asking yourself these questions, I feel like you have the ability to have a more healthy relationship with it.
What do you think, Carol? You want to Google some stuff for some people?
Yes, please.
All right, so I Googled some things for you guys at home and for my wife here, because this is my full-time job now.
I'm your wife.
I decided I would find 7 common misconceptions.
Okay, and I have to guess all 7?
I think I'm just gonna share them with you and you can give me your feedback.
No.
Okay.
My feedback on that is no. How about we sort of play like password, and you give me a keyword, and I just get one guess
At what the misconception is? All right, I like it.
Because I like games.
Good job.
Thank you.
Way to be a party parrot too. All right, fortune cookies.
Common misconception that they originated from China.
This is true. Fortune cookies.
See how much fun this is?
Are not Chinese, despite them being handed out in many Western-based Chinese restaurants. At the end of meals these days, a fortune cookie is not from China. Rather, it was brought to the U.S. by the Japanese.
What?
They are rarely found in China and are often seen as a symbol of American cuisine.
Who's surprised?
Makes sense.
This is cultural appropriation.
Can you put this down? Let's make a long noise.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But here's what is the most confusing to me about that: the Japanese. Why
Yeah,
didn't they decide to put it in Japanese restaurants?
I don't know. Second misconception: the Buddha.
The Buddha.
Yeah.
Misconception is he was fat.
The Buddha was not fat. The popular image of the fat laughing Buddha with the big friendly belly is completely inaccurate.
Are you kidding me?
This is actually a 10th century folk hero in Chinese lore called Budai, and the two have been confused over time. In fact, Buddha was an ascetic? Ascetic? That's a tough word. I'm throwing that one up on screen for all you wordies at home. What are you doing? Oh, look up? You're gonna do a little look up?
Ascetic, characterized by or suggesting
Ascetic. Isn't that ascetic?
Ascetic.
This is fun to watch.
Characterized by or suggesting the practice of severe self-discipline. Guys, word of the day, ascetic.
Ascetic. In fact, the Buddha was an ascetic who prayed under a lotus tree, eating almost nothing to achieve enlightenment. Wow, that's fine. All right, third one.
Okay.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
That it was about a star, and it's not.
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star was not composed by Mozart.
Oh.
It has been widely whispered that the classic children's song was composed by the Austrian musician when he was 5 years old. Actually, it originated from a French folk song, which Mozart composed variations of when he was 25 and 26.
Mozart, steal with pride, you know. My nose.
You're fine.
Okay.
Vikings.
We're from Norway.
Common misconception about Vikings, they did not wear horns on their helmets. An iconic image for identifying the invaders, there is no historical evidence that that is accurate. In fact, the horns on helmets of Vikings come from an opera scene. That's where they originated from.
No way.
Yeah. All right, 2 more misconceptions.
Wonder who the person is that was like, let's just put horns on that.
I think it's Richard Wagner, the guy who put it in an opera scene.
Wagner. But
Ooh, my bad. Cultural.
I think so. I'm not
The
sure.
Great Wall of
I said that with
China.
confidence. I'm not sure. Great Wall of China. Common misconception is that it's a mile long.
Okay, I think it's way longer than a mile long. The Great Wall of China is not the only human-made object visible from space. None of the Apollo astronauts reported seeing any specific human-made object from the moon. Even Earth-orbiting astronauts can barely see it. City lights, however, are easily visible on the night side of Earth from orbit. All right, final misconception, Napoleon.
That he was short.
Common misconception, Napoleon was not short.
What?
The little corporal's height was recorded in French at 5 feet 2 inches, which, when converted to English feet, is 5 foot 7. So this is in fact slightly taller than the average Frenchman at the time.
What measurement was 5'2"?
French feet.
French feet are different than American feet?
Have you seen French people? Obviously.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
That was a fun game.
anything to say.
I like that. Fun
Anyway,
fact.
we Googled some stuff for you. Hope you enjoyed it. And we hope you enjoyed this little chat on self-worth and social media.
know
And
what?
maybe it'll change your behavior a little bit, make you think about some things. I would highly recommend doing a detox that will really detach you from social media. Even if it's just a couple days, a weekend, start there, then try and get to like 30 days.
And we want you to know that you are already worthy and you don't
You
need
really are.
other people to like you on social
Except
media.
for your third kid. I just think, like, if no one's liking him on Instagram, why have him at all?
I feel so bad for my kid.
Oh, that's
I hope
really
she
terrible.
deleted that post.
That's really terrible. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, we love your faces. We'll see you in the next episode. Caroline's hair. It was great,
Sayonara.
wasn't it? Wasn't it great?
Comment below. Do
was
you want
great.
me to do my hair or not do my hair? Don't comment below. I'm going to be so self-conscious. Just say nice things. Never mind.